Before I begin, I have to apologize. I apologize for being black and intellectual. I apologize for being black and having a sense of common decency, common dignity, common eloquence. I am sorry I do not speak like Ice-T, Ice Cube, Will Smith, Eazy-E, Flava Flav, and to my YouTube manager who listens to my stuff. I believe you are a woman, yes? I apologize for saying things that trigger you so much that you make absolutely sure none of my videos make it past 200 views. I apologize that you see fit to shadow ban everything that I do. And I know that you're shadow banning me because I ask my subscribers to like my videos. And historically speaking, likes are 10% of views. So if you have 30 likes, you should have 300 views. When I get 90 likes and 100 views, I know for a fact that you're shadow banning me. I've been at this longer than you've been employed by YouTube. So, do me a favor, get a man reassigned to me. You go hang out and be the representative of a female YouTuber. You will enjoy it so much more. You will have so much more fun. You won't be triggered because you are not doing anybody a service by shadow banning me. You're hurting the company. You're hurting my subscribers. You're hurting everybody involved. Nothing that I say, first of all, is my opinion. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't have an opinion. I don't have an accent. I don't have an opinion. I've never been in love. I have no passion. I have no mojo. I have no friends. I have no enemies. Nothing I say is my own opinion. And everything that I report on comes from places like CNN, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, everything. Every single thing. I have never taken a report from Fox. I've done videos that appeared on Fox of other people like Biden, Kamala Harris, Karine Jean-Pierre. So when you shadow ban me, you're literally shadow banning direct information coming from the Democratic Party. And I give no opinion, no conclusions, nothing. I don't have an original brain cell in my brain at all. No original thought, nothing. So, stop shadow banning me. Go hang out. Go be the representative of some woke female YouTuber. There are plenty of them. You assign a conservative male representative to me, and we'll be fine. And what's funny is he'll probably upset that I don't say anything conservative, that I don't hold any conservative opinions. A lot of times, you people, when you're super duper woke, if anything isn't super duper woke, you assume it's conservative. I'm not conservative. I'm not Republican at all. No part of me is Republican. I've never voted Republican. I'm not a Republican. But what I am is normal. All of this stuff you just said, we need to normalize this, that, and the other. I'm the normal. I'm not far right. I'm not right at all. I'm not conservative. I'm not alt-right. I'm none of that stuff. But what I am is educated, well-read, articulate, everything that you hate in a black person because you yourself are racist. That's the wrong word, but that's the only word that you understand because you're uneducated. You're not well-read. All of you people use the word racist when you mean bigot, when you mean prejudice. When people say, oh, I hate it when people say black people can't be racist. Black people cannot be racist if you knew the definition of racism. But black people can be bigots. Black people can be prejudiced. Very definitely so. Black people can be hateful. Black people can be judgmental. What's really funny is you all have stolen most of black culture. In your wokeism, most of your wokeism is stolen from black culture. When black people talk to black people. And the thing is, have you heard the saying, it's a black thing you wouldn't understand? Oh my God, it's a black thing you wouldn't understand. You steal the words, but you have no idea what the meaning is, and then you incorporate it into your wokeism, and then you say, hey, black people, are you woke? And then the black person goes, what? What are you saying? Why are you using that word? You have no idea what that word is. But you say, no, this is what woke means. And the black person is looking at you like, you white devil? That's not what woke means at all. Why did you steal the word and you don't know what the word means? White privilege. That's another term that you stole from black people and you have no idea what it means. And then you turn around and tell a black person, don't all these white people have white privilege? No, they don't. That's not what white privilege means. You think it means white privilege. We mean something completely different. I'm not going to explain to you how to be black and what the term actually means, because that would be racist. Because that would be cultural appropriation. If you actually use the term correctly, that black people use with each other. You have no idea what the terms are, but you steal them left and right. Woke, white privilege, and all of the alphabet stuff. All of your alphabet stuff comes from black people. All of your alphabet stuff. All of it. White gay people use black terms and they have no idea what it means. In fact, black drag queens have a whole culture all by themselves, and you all steal all of the stuff from them, don't know what it means, and you look like a fool to black people, but you don't know what it means, so you don't know that you're being a fool, or that you're acting like a fool, and that you are culturally appropriating entire cultures. And it's always the black person at the receiving end of it. Even worse, you got Elon Musk saying the stuff. And you hate Elon Musk, but he's saying all the stuff that you're saying. He has no idea what it means. Why? Because he's a white guy. Doesn't matter how rich he is, he's still a white guy. And he could be down with the brothers all he wants to be, but he doesn't understand the terminology. Because he got the terminology from you all. You all don't understand it. But you all continuously appropriate culture. But you say it's bad to appropriate culture, but you're doing it left and right. If you don't want to appropriate culture, stop saying the word woke. Stop saying the word white privilege. Stop teaching critical race theory, because the entire notion comes from black people. But you got it all twisted and wrong. It's all messed up. So stop using that. That's cultural appropriation. Here you go, Republicans, conservatives. You can say Shakaama said stop using critical race theory because it comes from black people, and you're assuming black culture from it. You're culturally appropriating from black people. Critical race theory comes from black people. You're assuming black identity by using critical race theory or teaching it. And you have no idea what it is or what it means. Most things that are impactful come from black people. Most things, especially culturally speaking. Why? Because, dare I say it, white people don't have culture. Your culture is almost always tied to food. Black culture is not always tied to food. Yes, there is definitely soul food. Yes, there's definitely Creole food. Yes, there's definitely barbecue. Yeah, that's all black. But black culture dominates culture in the United States. Dominates it. We don't benefit from it. We don't profit from it. But all culture in the United States is dominated by black culture. So much so that you export it to Japan. The Japanese, who hate black people, have a whole segment of the population in Japan that does nothing but act like black people, black rappers. It's all stereotypical. If a black person were to see it, they would be completely insulted by it, but that's what they love. If a black person ever went to Japan and one of those people came up to them, they would feel insulted because it would look like they're making fun of black people, but they really think that's how black people are. How do I know this? I've traveled all over the world. I've had people in foreign countries come up to me and say all sorts of things. Why? Because when they export all of the Hollywood movies first of all, they're like a year or two old. And so their reruns are like 10 years old. So they believe black people act like they do in the movie. And Hollywood doesn't actually portray any black person that acts like me, looks like me, speaks like me, reasons like me. So no foreign person has ever walked up to me and said, "Oh, you must be one of those Wayne Brady types of people. You must be one of those Denzel Washington types of people." No, they've never said that. I even have white people in the United States come up to me, hold their hand out as to slap me 5 and say, "My man." And I go, "No, I'm not that type of black person." I've had dates from online meet up with me and they said, "Oh, you're not the type of black person I want. I want a more of a Ice Cube type of black person." Okay, so my YouTube rep, I know you're a woman. Switch your position to a woman YouTuber. You will be so much more happy. And give me a male conservative YouTube. Don't give me one of these gay guys. Oh, you think that's racist to say? You think that's prejudiced to say? You think that's judgmental to say? No, it's the reality. Especially white gay guys. They're the most racist. Why do I know this? I interviewed thousands of them when I was writing a book years ago. They are more racist than the regular white person. Why? Because their racism has absolutely no consequences to it. You want to talk about white privilege? White gay privilege is out of this world. It's astronomical. White gay guys can be as racist as all get up. Nobody will ever call them on. Why? Because if you say, "Hey, you're racist," they'll go, "How dare you offend? I'm a gay person. How dare you offend me?" You see? It's almost like white girl privilege, but it's taken to the nth degree. Sorry, white women, you're not the top of the heap. It's white gay guys who are the top of the heap. So let's get on with the video. Today we're going to talk about climate change. What you're going to get from me in any of my videos is me with my 5 degrees, which were wrapped up in pre-law. They didn't know what pre-law was, so they said, why don't we just make them matriculate in 4 or 5 different subjects. So I have literally all of political science, all of history, all of psychology, all of logic. Seems pretty good. And I also have business and science. Regular science, just straight up biology, chemistry, all of that stuff. Regular science. And the department head over the College of Science said, you should major in STEM. And I said, no, I'm going to go to law school. And he says, you could still go to law school and major in STEM. But I should have listened. I probably would have not met you all. I probably would have been in somebody's laboratory doing all sorts of fantastic little experiments. Climate change. So when I talk about stuff, I'm going to talk from a scientific point of view, not my opinion. Science. A lot of what the Democrats and the left does is they argue from a position of emotion. Oh, science. Climate is a catastrophe, and let the science show it. No, the science does not show it. In fact, most climatologists completely disagree with climate change. The entire global warming, man-made global warming, completely disagree with it. Let's get into this. Has anyone sat you down, you as in you people who believe in climate, and gone over exactly what solar and wind right now can do? I'm sorry. Has any of the climate change people sat you down? The people who believe in climate change, have they sat you down and gone over exactly what solar and wind right now can do? I bet they haven't. In fact, I bet they can't. I bet the most thought they have ever put into wind and solar is Orange Man bad. No, I'm not joking. The conclusion of everything that they say is oil is terrible. We must destroy the entire oil industry while they're wearing glasses, while they're wearing clothes, while they're walking inside of a building, while they're sitting on furniture, while they're wearing perfume, while they're sitting in air conditioning, while they're texting on their cell phone. We must destroy the oil industry. Really, get rid of everything that I just mentioned. If that's your opinion, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of everything that I just mentioned. All modern inventions, all modern lifestyle is oil-based. All of it. And they say wind and solar will save us. And that's why Orange Man bad. Back up there, Sparky. You missed a couple of steps. Tell me exactly how wind and solar is going to save us. Orange Man bad. Yes, we get that. But tell me how wind and solar is going to save us. We put up the wind farms and solar farms and poof, no more carbon emissions and humanity is saved. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Back up to the part just before you said humanity is saved. How many solar and wind farms are needed to save humanity? And they say, and I say, I'm waiting. And they say, and I say, still waiting. And they say, a lot. Yes. How much is a lot? And they say, I don't know precisely. I don't have that on the top of my head. I don't have that at my fingertips. I didn't come prepared to give you a complete or readout. Okay, let me help you out. To outfit commercial trucks with batteries instead of oil, you need an input of 6 terawatts. Your local power station puts out 3. Where are you going to get the extra 3? And that is just commercial vehicles. Now, let's talk about a city of 5 million cars. They are now unpowered. Let's talk 10 million houses and commercial buildings. They are now unpowered after the trucks. What about the other commercial cars? They are all unpowered. In fact, in the entire United States, if we all went solar and electric, we would be dark 70% of the day. And if everyone plugged everything in at once, we would drop down to the Stone Age. We don't have an electrical grid that can sustain any of this. California has 50,000 electric vehicles and had to put out a moratorium on plugging them in. They said you cannot plug in your electric vehicle. Something like only 1 hour a day, something like that. Then we tell people not to plug everything in at the same time is their answer, right? We just tell them not to plug everything in. But here's my response. But you see, currently, everything is plugged in at the same time. With oil, we are the first world. This is how we live. We draw electricity constantly. At the current level, it cannot sustain life, let alone the luxury of a first world society with wind and solar. Now let's consider this claim that it won't pollute nor put out carbon emissions like oil and coal. That is a bald-faced lie. In fact, the emissions are worse. They rely on slave labor for precious metals in Africa and the Congo. So your entire talking part is worse than anything oil and gas and coal can put out. And to add insult to injury, you refuse to even discuss nuclear. And because of you wind and solar people, the last century of nuclear accidents was caused by your activism. You went on a rampage when there was a leak near a nuclear power plant. They said it was killing the livestock. They simply said it was killing the livestock. They shut down the nuclear power plant, and the power plant went under, and then they closed it, and they never opened it again. Come to find out, there was not a single cattle that had died after the fact. Damage done, though. They never reopened the nuclear power plant. I believe that was in New Jersey or somewhere over there. You just said it was leaking and that livestock were dying. It was a lie, a complete lie. And you caused all of the people who not only work there, but the people in the state to then be dark for however long it took to actually get some power to that area. Also, you refuse to talk about environmental impact of wind farms and solar farms. They destroy the ecosystem that they're put in. They kill wildlife and plant life. Everything you talk about is horrible and awful for humanity. At the current state, we're not talking about in 100 years. We're not talking about in 1,000 years. We're talking about 2023. At the current state, wind and solar is horrible for the environment, horrible for ecosystems, horrible for livestock and animal life. We actually have the highest and best technology to render oil and coal pretty much clean. We have the cleanest oil and coal on the planet, the cleanest. By them shutting down oil pipelines and shutting down oil production, we still have to have oil and gas. So then we import it. And we import it from where? Other countries that are not as clean with oil and gas. So you are actually causing a problem worse than the problem that you thought was the solution. That is your boy Joe Biden doing that. On day one, shutting down the oil pipeline, which caused us then to have to import oil from places that have almost no cleanliness in oil and gas and coal at all. And we have to import the amount that you shut down. And as people have babies and the population grows, that means over the last few years, the problem has gotten worse. So we're importing more dirty oil, dirty gas, dirty coal. And also they did emissions. Oil and gas in the United States is clean. We can have millions of cars on the road and have no smog. You see smog in areas where they have not implemented the new standards for car emissions. There's still a lot of old cars on the road. But in places where you have the new standards for emissions, the air is crystal clear. And they knew that this would happen. And the car companies hemmed and hawed and complained, but they did it and everybody is much better for it. The actual car cleans the stuff. Also, the oil and gas, clean the oil and gas. So one hand wash the other hand so that everybody bore the cost. And we, of course, are paying for the cost. Oil and gas is not going to pay for it. The big car industry is not going to pay for it. The end consumer is going to pay for it. So yes, that's the burden that we have. But we end up with clean air. As much as the left wants to complain about climate change and all that sort of stuff, we are actually cleaner under oil and gas than with solar farms and wind farms all over the place. And here's another thing that you will never hear from anybody. They still emit carbon. Wind and solar still emits carbon. There are emissions. They have actually gone up with the actual meters near the solar, near the wind, and found that you actually have carbon emissions. Also, with the wind, you have to start the wind turbine with a gas motor. So you're not actually fixing anything. To manufacture the wind and the solar is far more pollutant than anything that oil and gas does. And coal. For the most part, a coal miner can actually work for some time in a coal mine. You can make a living off of that and have a general okay lifespan. That cannot be said the same thing for people who work mining the precious materials and rare materials for wind and solar. All of that stuff is toxic and radiates radioactive material. So for all of your praise of wind and solar in 2023, it is terrible. Nobody's going to say this because they have to promote that wind and solar is awesome, wind and solar is amazing, wind and solar. Here's a final thing. They do have a solar cell that is efficient. That's another thing. Wind and solar is not efficient. Not only can it not sustain life in the United States, it's not efficient. California has a bill that they already passed that says there will be no gas cars in 2050. They don't have the capability of even having that. And they know that. They are literally hoping that something is going to come along by 2050 where we won't need gas cars anymore. But we've had gas cars for what? Almost 200 years now? Final conclusion I was about to say. There is technology that is super duper efficient today. Actual fantastic, super efficient solar cells. Actual fantastic, super efficient wind turbines. It is not on the market. It is not available commercially. Why is it not available commercially? It would gut oil and gas and coal. And you say, what's the problem? Well, the problem is for that super efficient solar cell and super efficient wind turbine, it requires super duper rare materials. Currently, we only have rare materials for wind and solar. For the super duper efficient ones, it is super duper rare materials. It is really expensive, number one. Now, if we did it to scale where millions and millions of pounds is needed, and we went in and created mines to do that, the problem would then arise. You have to recreate the entire infrastructure of the United States. Currently, the infrastructure of the United States is suited for oil and gas and coal. How many trillions of dollars would it cost to redo the entire infrastructure of everything? Homes, roads, highways, ports, everything. Airways, airports, everything. All of that would have to be completely redone. So until, 3023, maybe then we'll be up to speed to have changed the infrastructure to be able to sustain the super duper efficient wind and solar. But until such time, we're stuck with this, oil and gas. And we're stuck with it. No amount of wishing and no amount of passing bills to say we're not going to have gas cars by 2050, no amount of passing those bills is going to do anything. We don't have it. California does not have the infrastructure by 2050 to have all electric vehicles. They don't have it. They're not going to have it. It's not going to get done. Why? Because California is not that rich. It would take the GDP of the entire United States to refit all of California to be ready in 2050 to not have gas cars. It is insanity. We don't have the infrastructure. We're not going to have the infrastructure. It would be funny if by 2050 they said, okay, everybody needs to turn in their cell phones. We all need to turn in our cell phone so that we can have all of the material from your cell phone to go into the new wind and solar lifestyle. Why would we turn in our cell phones for that? Because the rare materials take time to mine, and collecting everybody's cell phone would be cheaper and faster to get all of the materials from your cell phone. That's what it would take. Thank you all for watching.